What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocker with a convict's perspective, and I'm smashing, dashing, sliding on through with a little bit of energy. So, as you can already tell, man, please hit the like, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. Comment, man, help support the algorithm, man. I'm gonna keep on pushing like always, man. And since everybody else is being making like reaction videos to Weddle and Hood Stocks, I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more on my feelings about it. Yesterday, I kind of was a little bit um, puzzled, when I finally watched the video and stuff that he dropped, you know what I mean? And, like I said, I respect Weddle, and I got to put myself in his shoes, and I got to have some type of empathy as far as, thinking about his family, and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But there's a few things like I think I need to address and that needs to be recognized. And one, the word that kept on being used, you know what I'm saying? That's past tense. It's not present tense. You know what I'm saying? That's not the wide scope of what some people try to claim that know little information about the situation. You know what I'm saying? You know, I denounced that gang lifestyle by my actions, and I stay true to that based upon the fact that what happened in my past. Everybody knows the story. There's no one has disclaimed anything about what I've said about that. Those are actually true events that happened. Um, and there's a lot of people who feel that should have been addressed the proper way, and that me personally, I feel I owe no loyalty to those that would allow someone to have sexual deviant behavior towards my own personal wife and allow to put money before anything. So that's the ultimate thing that you need to look at, period, in the whole situation is how would people react? And I don't try to justify it either way. You guys know that. But the same token, there's a lot of people out there that have not been put in that situation and to make that type of choice or decision. And, until you feel the wraths of those who try to sit there and, undermine the work that you put in for years, you know what I'm saying, and allow your wife at the time who never did nothing but stand behind whatever her man told her, and allowed it to happen. Those individuals deserve no loyalty from me, period, regardless of what you want to think about the streets or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? The game ain't supposed to go that way. You know what I'm saying? Nor were my actions supposed to go that way. But it is what it is. And so when people have a widespread idea of what really happened, man, there's so many mistruths to so much stuff that's been said. Check in my video, man. You'll get the truth about what happened. And my story never changed. I did one on stories written by current prisoner. I did a follow-up on convict's perspective. Me and Rojo did, and to get ahead of everything, to let people know, like, look, I don't hide from nothing. But back to Weddle. I understand the uncompromising situation that he may have been put in. My only issue with it is that if you are don't allow other people to dictate what you feel and what you do. If you don't need to overemphasize it and overpush it and put too much out there to make it seem like you're trying to make it clear, because the more you put out there, I mean, I listened to it, I heard one of the words 15, 20 different times. It's like, slow down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes there's a little bit, when you start to overemphasize it, it makes it seem like you're doing it for other intentions, and I think Weddle is a righteous individual. I think he's a good dude, and I just hope that he continues down that positive push, man, because if you don't plan on going to prison, if you're trying to live your life, and if you can't sit there and say denounce gangs at the same time and then worry about all the other stuff. It doesn't work that way. If you're trying to stop, the gang violence, then you got to be full force behind it and not worried about the ramifications that may come from your actions. You don't have to associate with different people, but don't allow the dictates of other individuals dictate you as far as what you need to do and what you don't need to do, because then you're allowing them the control over you. And it's kind of a bully type mentality of these groups, you know what I'm saying, that are able to enforce their will upon people to make choices for them. You know what I'm saying? We all go through different trials and tribulations in life, and we never know what that other person may be going through, or what happened, or what occurred, or their story. As much as you can sit there and say, well, fuck, I don't agree with fucking what happened with Flacco. Well, you shouldn't agree with what happened to my wife at that time either. That should have been a fucking done deal data situation as well. So, two wrongs ain't gonna make a right. You know what I'm saying? And if you treat gente in accordance to how you're supposed to treat them and how what's been advocated and promoted within some of these groups, then you wouldn't have such repercussions within these groups. You wouldn't have people who, feel the need or feel used or feel betrayed or feel like that they don't owe no obligation or loyalty to that group. You know what I'm saying? The game's the game. It's cutthroat. It can be manipulated in so many different ways. But the end result of any game in life is winning by any means necessary. There's no code of conduct. There's no code of ethics. There never has been. You know what I'm saying? There's no template that everybody's supposed to apply by this. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth behind life. Life is about winning. It's about taking care of you and your own. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the whole, facade about gangs, it's a false it's false. There's nothing true behind it. It's been man-made, created, you know what I mean, by individuals who pursue different type of opportunities or different type of things in life, under the false pretenses of this is what it's for. You know what I mean? And that's the truth behind anything. It's a void that most of us felt that we needed to fill. And once we get involved in it, we feel controlled by it to this day sometimes. And, that's my whole thing. I'm not going to take no shots at Weddle. I'm not going to sit there and say anything, denounce anything that he said, right, who, what, where, when, why, or wrong, or anything. But you need to really sit there and give an honest assessment. Don't make hasty decisions out of fear. Don't make hasty decisions out of pressure. You know what I'm saying? That's where it needs to go. Because when I watched everything, man, I was expecting, man, maybe one time, but it was overemphasized a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? To where, I get it. People got to take care of their families and their issues and their home front for whatever reasons. I got to do the same thing though too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to be no one's scapegoat for their own protection or need. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is you have to have consideration in all facets of life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not hard for people to hang people out there to dry. And the way in which I felt that it was assessed and addressed, knowing details that I don't wish to display, it felt like I was being hung up to dry on this matter. And that's just me talking real. That's me presenting everything on a raw and uncut thing. I'm not going to say whether he knew or didn't know. That's kind of irrelevant. It's the way in which it was assessed that, I get it though. You know what I mean? I'll give someone the benefit of the doubt because, there's a lot of pressure. It could be kind of scary or shocking for some individuals. You do got to take into consideration that, what reprisal actions could come of this. But the one thing I have noticed is there's so much stuff that's misconstrued by so many things, man. Like for instance, the Savage Studio thing. I never supported any of his actions and his behaviors with some of the things that he did, right? But I don't support those that wanted to sit there and speak ill upon the dead. I felt that was wrong, and if I was active, I would still feel the same way about that. I would still have a negative eye to situations like that because that's not the lifestyle. The lifestyle is like this. Once you're dealt with on the streets, that issue is a dead issue. What that means is it's no longer to be discussed. Period. But then again, like I said, the game is what you make it. The game is the players that are in it. And nowadays, the game has been twisted. And it's unfortunate that someone like me, I guess, however you want to categorize it, knows more about how the game is supposed to operate than a lot of people who are actually in it now. And you got to have that type of moral compass in life if you want to be looked at more as a professional, member of an organization or associate, as opposed to looking like a low-level thug, how a lot of individuals sometimes look. So I get a lot of different things that are put out there, in regard to all these subjects and whatnot, man. And what it is that I speak my mind freely about situations that need to be spoken about, and I give it raw and uncut. And the thing is a lot of times it can't be disputed, and there's a lot of times things that people want to say, but they're afraid to say. I'm not, and this is what people forget. You know, a lot of people, who've dropped out, who've went SM. So I mean, some of the dudes that just went SMY, man. I mean, like I said, they just fucking get in the back of a cop car and they fucking already fucking want to go to PC. But some of us were out there fucking putting in a lot of work, out there on the streets doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't that any of us had a coward bone in our body. It's that we felt utilized in the wrong fashion. Don't think that a change of lifestyle means a change of who a person's capable of being, and people forget that. As much as I'm about positivity or trying to help others, I get the reality of how life is today. And this is what people are starting to not take into account by some of the actions I'm seeing. And this is kind of like what people have to really take a step back. Those that aren't active, right? They don't live by no rules. The rules that a lot of these groups have to operate out there in the calles, those that have not active no more, they don't live by no rules. And that's the truth of it, And that's a very, very dangerous element to be toying with people out there. And this is just overall for anybody, man. Me, I don't care about certain things, man. And watching, like I said, Guero'S address, so I understand it, I comprehend it, but I think it was just overemphasized a little bit. You know what I mean? Whether he knew or didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and voice my personal opinion. I'm going to give Guero the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent. And I think that's needed because I'm trying to be a better person. But there's nothing that's been hidden about me. There's nothing that I haven't been transparent. There's nothing I haven't put out there. I've been very adamant and very honest and forthcoming. And regardless, I'm the one that put my own situation out there. And not many people are willing to do that, knowing that the ramifications. There's some people that will hide where they were at, who they were around, or what they did. I'm not one of those ones that's going to do it, and that's not acknowledged enough. I think at times that people forget. They only want to have one perspective or one view of a person. I've seen people, well, you still did this. Well, and what's your point? And what do you got? What are you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? It's clear as day. That's my opinion or attitude about it. And what's cracking there? It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And people sometimes need to put themselves in other people's shoes. When it comes to family, when it comes to fucking betrayal, when it comes to all that shit, how are you gonna react? You know what I'm saying? The ones that have the biggest fucking loudest mouth in the room are a lot of times those that were never in those situations or never really had the balls to be in those situations, yet they have a big fucking mouth sometimes. And that's not to say that there's not those who take a cowardice path, man. You know what I mean? But there's not many people who are out there who've done the things that you know what I'm saying, that happened with me, that still be out there on Front Street at times, that be out there that was out there in the guys, because you know what, I felt my actions in some senses I used to try to always justify it, but at the end of the day, like I've been trying to tell people, I'm not trying to justify it, because that's the same story with so many people who end up going that route, and I don't want to be put in that category. My category is this: I did what I did for whatever reasons. I'm not going to sit there and justify it. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't define who I am today. I'll probably be the last person to fucking do anything, and the same ones that have the biggest mouth in the room will be the first ones to fucking tuck tail and fucking run. And I don't try to denounce any of these groups, even though there's a lot of these groups I feel have a lot of vices that contribute negative to our communities, and a lot of people know it, but they won't say nothing about it, and that's the truth. I know my limitations. I know who I am. I know the things that I should do and shouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of me being on YouTube, I think that people need to take a step back and look at, like, well, who else is going to be out there? People, if you really listen to some people, they'll sit there and say this and say that, but the whole time they'll be fucking snitching on their channels too. And these are coming from some of these cats that have active channels. Just listen to some of the stuff they talk about. You know what I'm saying? And it's comical. You know what I'm saying? Because there's more games sometimes being put out there on these channels about certain issues, that is it's being exposed for everybody to see. You know what I mean? I don't have to live by that. So it's acceptable in my day-to-day life. But other people, they need to realize what they're doing, man. You know, this isn't the streets talk, the streets don't forget, man. It's a very cutthroat, treacherous game full of twisted turns and crooked fates, man. And that's why you have so many people who are in the predicament they're in today. You know, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle of everybody feeling that they have the right answer, or feeling that they could just have judgment on another man. Well, technically, nobody has any judgment on any man, and nobody should be affected by any man. You control your own destiny by your own actions. You define and write your own chapter of your life, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. And that chapter is going to change. What you may think today may not be the same thing that you may feel 5 years from now. You know, there's many people that I've seen throughout the years who out of nowhere have defected from that lifestyle. And they were the last people you thought. And these were dudes that were straight killers. Dudes that you just didn't want to fuck with at all. You know, and, you know, my whole position, man, like I said, man, you know, I wish Sweato the best in his journeys. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've seen a couple people saying, yeah, well, he didn't, you know, let's get down to the fucking meat and bones of the whole situation. Meat and potatoes. There would be no Weddle or Weddle's Chronicles if it wasn't for me. He wouldn't be on YouTube if it wasn't for me. Let's not forget that factor. So however he got there, you know what I'm saying, it would have never ever happened if it wasn't for me. So all you viewers that have a certain opinion, just remember that the man that you may be enjoying his channel would have never been in the position to be doing these videos if it wasn't for me. And that's 100% accurate fact. Everything else, like I said, man, you know, I think Weddle's a good dude. I think that he needs to prioritize himself and his family. And, you know, I knew from before this that he was worried about going on the YouTube because he was worried about the drama. And so he may really want to reconsider that, because right now it didn't take long and drama already came. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to be those that maybe harbors some animosity, especially him being an upstater. You know, Sureño, there may be those that are going to be looking to attack him based upon that, looking to find fault, looking to find holes in his story. So, like I said, if people are worried about that, you know what I'm saying, then worry about that. And it's just sad that you had those. I mean, to be honest with you, man, I watched everything, and people say, "Oh, that call came at the end of the segment." But look how everything that video went from the start, from the beginning to finish. You know what I'm saying? I felt the individual was kind of fucking baiting him the whole time, and was kind of having a different type of didn't have the same respect that he should have for those that are upstate. And that's just me keeping it 100, man. You know, I've heard good things and I've heard bad things about dude. You know what I'm saying? And I could really care less. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, what he does doesn't affect me. You know, you can make 100 videos about me. It's not going to stop me from doing what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, people need to look at their own issues and stuff. And sometimes it's easy to deflect that by creating a whole nother scenario and issue. And what the truth is behind that, I don't know. But it was almost like a, you know, that sometimes there's more to there's more to a situation than what's exposed. And then me being someone who's very analytical, who's been in the game, was in the game for a long time, and understands the art of manipulation and being deceitful and having hidden agendas and ulterior motives. You know, it's plain as day to me what was really going on, man. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes creating that narrative and spinning the thing, it brings attention. You know, The Art of War is a very real book. And there's always people behind the scenes that are pulling the strings. And if you look at everything, look at it from face value. How did this look from the gate? What was the whole intentions? What was the whole purpose behind it? Because I didn't see enough respect being given to his view on the upstaters at all in that video. You know, and I just seen one man constantly that's trying to push a positive message having to defend himself. You know what I'm saying? And that's a sad thing, you know, is that You know, I get being controversial, but some people have that whole, persona that they feel that superior role, the superiority, and that was one of the things that was spoken on back in the days. And let's keep it 100, man. It wasn't until recent, till people wanted to put on that pressure on the people from up north, that certain people started having a little bit different type of how you say it, view and attitude towards those that were from up north but were Sureños. You know what I'm saying? So I think in general, I think what no one's saying is that there's maybe some people that are going to feel a certain way now because of how everything was portrayed and how everything was observed. And what better, I'm saying, tactic is to create scenarios that are away from you, that don't involve you, but involve others. You get what I'm saying? Just look at everything from that perspective, man. Anybody that's understands the art of war and concepts and principles and application of tactics, when it comes to cold warfare, when it comes to resources, when it comes to all these different factors, it's right there in front of your eyes. All you got to do is see the pattern, the reactions, the agenda, and it's been building up a little bit for a long time. In the last 2 weeks, if you notice, it didn't just come from one scenario. Now, what was the common thing that occurred recently? You know what I'm saying? How do you redirect that and get the attention elsewhere? You create this scenario. All this stuff, man, like I said, man, I'm not no fucking idiot, man. I'm observant. I know the tactics that people use, and I know it. Now, it wasn't this person who thought of this ploy and agenda. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at from the get-go, the whole attitude was totally different from the get-go. Then it went from, from one area, and then went bam, it hit fucking its peak. You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching and I'm observing. I read body language. I read attitudes. I read demeanors. Listen to what I'm saying, man. Observe that. Be attentive. Always look at things like that. Look at the over emphasize of gestures. And I'm not talking about Guero'S video. I'm talking about the original video. And it's unfortunate that some people get put in that position to be utilized to serve a whole nother purpose. This is the truth. This is the reality, man. And people need to look at it for what it is. Because I'm never going to fake what I say. I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to keep it as 100 as I can when I see scenarios like this. And I don't like it when people who have a good heart and good intentions get put in a box to where they feel the need to do whatever they need to do to survive. And that's exactly what I observed. And some people are saying, well, old boy reacted the way he reacted. Old boy knew the whole fucking time before even the show went. Come on now. You're going to tell me that nobody, come on, man. I don't buy into all that. You know what I'm saying? I watch other videos. I watch body language. I watch attitudes. I observe things. I see where the setup is being set up the whole time, man. And as far as Weddle, like I said, man, I could be one of those ones that could fucking try to hang people out the dryer, throw them under the bus, but I'm not going to do that because there's so much I don't understand as far as in the video that he did and the way in which he did it. But then there could be a reason behind that as well. And so, like I said before, there was never any discussions ever about my past. Motherfucker had to know I'm inactive. We were on a dropout channel. Story written by a current prisoner. That I will say. We're not active. We're this and that. And that's upon other people how they feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't have no worries about it. Some people do. You know what I mean? But as far as the underlying factors of my past, not no fucking present shit. And let's get that straight. All this fucking people fucking saying all kinds. Nah, it wasn't even. People put a whole fucking. I can count less on my hand that were involved in it. Put it that way, less than my fucking hand. And those are facts. But it's just unfortunate though. You know what I'm saying, that you should be able to, once you leave that lifestyle, make your own personal choices. And you know what I'm saying, what one does. I guess they always say, birds, whoever you are, what you associate with. That's not always true, man. Because you have some motherfuckers that are straight fucking solid hitters, and then there's fucking weenies that are right there by their side. Does that make that dude a weenie fucking hitter? No, it doesn't. It's the same thing with this. That relationship is based upon them. The same way that it is said in the gang lifestyle not to take action towards civilians who associate with those that maybe have a checkered past, should be the same of those who have left that gang's lifestyle to change their ways and no longer care. Because if you're a Christian, if you're into fucking making gang awareness and changes and whatnot, it shouldn't matter who you associate with. You know what I'm saying? My point where I'm at today, I'm a journalist. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I guess I'm a journalist, fucking content creator, whatever you want to call it, man. Fucking, that's just who I am. I don't live by a fucking label. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know what I mean? What I have these dudes that do this shit. Am I supposed to give them a label? Because half of them are fucking however I feel about them or however I perceive them, which is fucking a lot of times is 100% accurate, whether they're accurate or not. Am I supposed to say, okay, this dude's a weenie over here, this dude's a pussy over here, this dude's a bitch over here, and give them that label, even though they're active? I don't do that. I leave them alone. I let them keep their name as a man. Let them define their own actions. You know what I'm saying? Because when you put labels on people, you're categorizing them with people with one thought of who that person is, but a lot of times you're deceiving people. You know what I'm saying? You're deceiving the story. You're spinning the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, everybody got their fucking 2 cents on it, so I figured, you know what? I might as well jump in and say little things about it as well. Why not? Why not? You know what I mean? You know, and I'm not gonna give my opinion on it. That's one thing. I'm gonna stick to the facts on it. You know, people are gonna have an opinion. You know, but at the end of the day, this is nothing that's new to me. Is you know, I brought a lot of people into this YouTube shit. You know what I'm saying? That knew my situation, knew my standings, and you know, as soon as sometimes people get the pressure, they trying to change their tune, and that's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I've always been like that. Someone told me today that I always had an eyeball for scouting talent because I was able to recruit people and put people in position and, you know, embrace them of their status. That my eye was always observant of who had potential and whatnot. That's true, but you never know where that loyalty is going to stand when the pressure's put up on them. And Weddle don't owe me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody owe me nothing except for acknowledgement that some of them wouldn't be on YouTube if it wasn't for me. And that's the truth. And ain't no one can fucking take that from me. And no one's going to push me back. I seen one dude say, Flacco better get a job. You think you're going to push me out of YouTube because motherfuckers you want me to get off? There's enough people that do support me because of the things that I have done. I have lived by the things that I say I live by. Doesn't mean I always live a perfect life. It doesn't mean I won't fucking handle my business because I'm a man at the end of the day. But I'm not about all that, promoting all that fucking gang lifestyle and whatnot. You know what I mean? People don't like it that I can push it out there and not sugarcoat it. I can give it to you raw and real. You know what I mean? And not everybody wants to accept that. There's those that really have an issue with that because the things I have to say, it makes waves at times. It makes people think. You know, I'm not gonna sit there and you know, advocate for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna promote anything. I ask everybody to make a choice for what's best for them. You know what I'm saying? If you can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. You can't serve two masters. You know, some of us need to sit there and just focus upon our home life if that's what we want to do. You know, because if we get too big in this fucking shit on YouTube, like for instance, look what happened with Weddle. He wanted to fucking really unite Raza and stop it. And look how fast it was for them to find something to attack him with. That's the problem with the gente, is you have those who are truly believers in creating change. And this is the type of backlash effect they get. You know, I know for up north, none of it's supposed to be about gangs with these fucking, those that ain't within the O. You know, but people turn it into being gang members because they want to feel important. They want to feel a part of something, man. You know, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I know the end result of that, and a lot of people should really look at that for the truth behind it. You know, there's those of us who made, you know, the ultimate sacrifices, man. You know, that were willing to die, have killed. You know what I'm saying, and done all kinds of stuff, man. And that wasn't enough for the powers that be at times. You know what I'm saying? It's a cutthroat, dirty game, and that's the problem. Is you see scenarios like this, with those who are true believers in their cause or their ideologies. There's always going to be those who want to sit there and rain on their parade or cause a fire. Like I said, look at all the stuff that's been happening the last 2 weeks, man, and it's turning into what it is. We already see what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Because there's it's a whole different way to do different waves of attacks. Is some of that warranted? Maybe. You know, um, it is what it is, though. But let's not sugarcoat things. Let's not be fake about things, man. Let's sit there and look at things for what they are. With that said, it's your boy Flacco, Convict's Perspective. I'm out.